You know what's wild? You probably made about 15 financial decisions before you even watched this video today. You hit snooze on your alarm, which meant you didn't have time to make coffee at home, so you grabbed a $5 latte on your way to work. You opened Instagram while standing in line, saw an ad for those jeans you've been eyeing, saved them for later. You checked your bank account, felt that little pit in your stomach, and then immediately closed the app because, well, ignorance is bliss, right? And here's the thing, none of those decisions feel like they matter. I mean, it's $5, it's just browsing, it's just checking your balance. But by the end of today, you'll have made about 70 more decisions just like those. And by the end of this year, over 25,000 tiny financial choices that you didn't even register as choices. Most people think becoming a millionaire is about landing that big promotion, or getting lucky with crypto, or inheriting money from a rich uncle. But the data tells us something completely different. And honestly, it's way more interesting than that. My name is Win, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who make $60,000 a year can become millionaires while people making $200,000 a year somehow end up broke. If you're someone who's tired of feeling like you're doing everything right with money but still living paycheck to paycheck, or if you've ever wondered why some people just seem to effortlessly build wealth while you're stuck in the same place year after year, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, we need to talk about something that the entire personal finance industry gets wrong. Everyone's obsessed with telling you about the thing you need to do to get rich. Invest in index funds, buy real estate, start a side hustle. And yeah, those things matter. But here's what most people don't realize. The actual mechanics of building wealth, the investing, the real estate, the business, that's actually the easy part. The hard part? It's the 73 micro decisions you make every single day that either move you closer to or further from financial freedom. And almost all of them happen completely unconsciously. There was a study done by Cornell University where they tracked people's daily decisions for a month. You know what they found? The average person makes over 200 decisions about food alone every single day. 200. And when they asked people how many food decisions they thought they made, the average answer was 15. We're off by a factor of 13 when estimating our own behavior. 13. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't understand why I'm not building wealth, I'm pretty careful with money, you're probably making 185 financial decisions every day that you don't even know you're making. Now, before your eyes glaze over, I promise this math is actually fascinating because this is where it gets really interesting. Let's say you make $55,000 a year. After taxes, you're taking home about $3,500 a month. Now, here's the experiment. I want you to genuinely think about every small purchase you make in a day. The morning coffee, the lunch out because you forgot to meal prep, the subscription you forgot you had that auto-renewed, that Amazon purchase because it was only $23. Studies show that the average American makes between 12 and 20 small purchases per week that they classify as insignificant. Let's be conservative and say 12. And let's say each one averages $8. That's $96 per week, $450 per month, or $4,980 per year. Now you might be thinking, Win, are you really going to do the whole skip the latte thing? Because I've heard this before and I like my coffee. No, stay with me because this is where everyone gets it wrong. Here's the thing that's going to blow your mind. I don't actually care about the $4,980. What I care about is this. If you're making $55,000 a year and spending $4,880 on things you literally don't remember buying, you have a broken decision-making system. Not a budget problem, not a willpower problem, a system problem. Let me show you what I mean. That same Cornell study found something else. When people were aware they were making a decision like, actually conscious that I am now deciding to buy this thing, they made completely different choices 64% of the time. 64%. So the money habit that will make you a millionaire isn't don't buy coffee. It's not budget everything down to the penny. It's this. Make your financial decisions conscious instead of unconscious. Here's what most people don't realize about how we actually spend money in 2025. We've engineered friction out of every single purchase. 20 years ago, if you wanted to buy something, you had to physically go to a store, pick up the item, wait in line, pull out your wallet, count out cash or swipe a card, sign something. There were like 7 decision points where your brain could go, wait, do I actually want this? Now, you tap your phone. Or better yet, you don't even do that. It's saved, it's one click, it's auto pay, it's subscription based. A study from the Federal Reserve found that the average American has 12 active subscriptions. 12. And when they surveyed people, the average person could only name 6 of them. We're literally paying for 6 things we don't even know we're paying for. But here's where it gets darker. Companies know this. There's an entire field called behavioral design where businesses specifically engineer their payment systems to be unconscious. Why do you think every service wants you on autopay? Why do you think apps use one-click ordering? Why do you think stores put impulse purchases at the checkout? Because when you don't have to consciously decide, you buy way more stuff. I read this report from a marketing psychology firm, and this is kind of infuriating. They found that adding just one extra click to a purchase process reduces conversion by 27%. One click. That's how much our unconscious mind is controlling our spending. So I started looking into this, right? I wanted to know, what do people who actually build wealth do differently? And I found something fascinating. Thomas Stanley, the guy who wrote The Millionaire Next Door, surveyed over 1,000 millionaires. And yeah, they invested. Yeah, they lived below their means. But here's the specific habit that separated them from everyone else. They had what Stanley called decision awareness. Before any purchase over $20, they had a mandatory waiting period, not a budget. Not a spreadsheet, just a pause. Some of them made it 24 hours, some made it a week. But they all had the same system. They forced themselves to consciously decide instead of unconsciously react. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but Win, that sounds exhausting. I don't want to deliberate over every purchase like I'm writing a dissertation. And look, I get it. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to. The goal isn't to become hyper-vigilant about every dollar. The goal is to fix your decision-making system so that your unconscious choices are good ones. Let me give you a practical example of what this actually looks like. Let's say right now, your morning routine involves stopping at Starbucks every workday. That's about $6 per day, $30 per week, $1,560 per year. Now, the traditional personal finance advice would be stop going to Starbucks, make coffee at home, save that $1,560s. But here's what actually happens when you try that. You feel deprived. You resist. You eventually give up and feel like a failure. And now you're back at Starbucks, except you also feel guilty about it. So you've just added psychological misery to your routine without saving any money. Here's the better system. You make the decision conscious. Next time you're about to order, you stop for just 10 seconds and ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do I actually want this coffee right now? If it's an 8 or above, buy the coffee. Enjoy it guilt-free. You consciously decided it was worth it. If it's a 6 or below, skip it. But not because you're being good or saving money, because you genuinely don't want it that much. Now, here's where this gets insane. I tried this for a month with everything, not just coffee, everything. Every purchase, I rated it 1 to 10, and here's what I found. About 40% of the things I was buying, I didn't actually want. I was buying them unconsciously because they were there, because it was easy, because I was bored, because an algorithm showed me an ad at the exact moment I was vulnerable. So let's do the math again. Remember that $4,980 per year in small purchases? If 40% of those were unconscious decisions you wouldn't make if you were paying attention, that's $1,992 per year. Now here's the thing. If you take that $1,992 and invest it, we're talking boring index funds. Nothing fancy at the historical stock market average of about 10% per year. In 30 years, that compounds to 361,000 on 280 viewers. But wait, it gets better. Because once you start making your small decisions conscious, something weird happens. You start making your big decisions conscious too. Maybe you realize you don't actually need to upgrade your phone every 2 years. That's another $800 per year saved. Maybe you realize you're paying for a gym membership, you never use another $600. Maybe you actually negotiate your salary because you're now thinking intentionally about money that could be $5,000 more per year. If you save and invest just an additional $5,000 per year through conscious decision making at 10% annual returns, that compounds to $910,616 in 30 years. We just found almost $1 million in your unconscious spending. But here's what I think is actually the most important part of this, and it's not even about the money. When you start making your financial decisions consciously, you stop feeling out of control. You know that anxiety you feel every time you check your bank account? That's not about the number in your account. That's about the fact that you don't know how you got there. You don't remember making the decisions that led to that number. So it feels like money is just something that happens to you, like weather, like luck. But when every dollar you spend is a conscious choice, suddenly you're in control. You're not a victim of your circumstances. You're not unlucky. You're just making choices, and you can make different choices if you want to. There's this concept in psychology called locus of control. People with an internal locus of control believe they're in charge of their outcomes. People with an external locus believe life just happens to them. And here's the shocking statistic. People with an internal locus of control earn an average of 35% more over their lifetime and have 2.5 times higher net worth, according to research from the Journal of Economic Psychology. Why? Because when you believe you control your outcomes, you make better decisions. You negotiate harder, you take smart risks, you don't just accept things as they are. Making your spending conscious isn't just about saving money, it's about fundamentally changing your relationship with money from reactive to intentional. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. When this sounds great in theory, but I'm barely making ends meet, I don't have money to save, this doesn't apply to me. And look, I hear you. But here's the thing, this applies to you even more. When money is tight, every dollar matters. And if 40% of your spending is unconscious, you're literally throwing away money you can't afford to lose. I'm not saying you should never enjoy anything. I'm not saying you should live like a monk. I'm saying that if you're struggling financially and you're making unconscious decisions, you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back. Or maybe you're thinking, I make good money. I don't need to worry about small purchases. This is actually the most dangerous mindset of all. You know how many people I've met who make $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 plus per year and have no money saved? It's not because they don't make enough. It's because their lifestyle scaled up unconsciously with their income. There's this phenomenon called lifestyle creep, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You get a raise, you unconsciously start spending more. Better apartment, nicer car, more frequent vacations, and suddenly you're making triple what you used to make, but you're not any wealthier. According to data from the Federal Reserve, households making over $100,000 per year have an average savings rate of just 12%. That means 88% of their income disappears, mostly into unconscious lifestyle inflation. All right, so here's exactly what you're going to do starting today. Step 1, the awareness. Week. For the next 7 days, you're not going to change anything about your spending. You're just going to track every single purchase you make. And I mean everything. The coffee, the app subscription, the convenience store snack, the online purchase, everything. But here's the key. You're not writing down what you spent. You're writing down how you felt about the purchase on a scale of 1 to 10 after you made it. Did it genuinely improve your day? Was it worth it? Or did you barely notice it? This is just data collection. No judgment, no guilt, just awareness. Step 2, the 10-second rule starting in week 2. Before any discretionary purchase, you're going to stop for 10 seconds and ask yourself, how much do I actually want this right now on a scale of 1 to 10? If it's 8 or above, buy it guilt-free. If it's 7 or below, skip it. That's it. You're not budgeting. You're not restricting. You're just making the decision conscious. Step 3, the monthly audit. At the end of each month, you're going to look at your bank statement and identify every subscription, recurring charge, or automatic payment. For each one, ask yourself, did I use this month? Does this still serve me? Is this an 8+ on my priority scale? If not, cancel it. Not someday. Today. Step 4, the compound tracker. Take whatever money you're saving from these conscious decisions and immediately transfer it to a separate account. Not someday, the same day. And here's the psychological hack. You're going to watch it compound. Use a simple investment calculator online. Plug in your numbers, see what that money becomes in 10, 20, 30 years. Because here's what most people don't realize. Money sitting in your checking account feels like nothing. But money in an investment account that's growing, that feels like progress. That feels like winning. Here's the thing about habits. They compound in ways you can't predict. When you start making your small financial decisions consciously, you start making your big decisions consciously too. You start asking better questions. Do I actually want to live in this expensive neighborhood? Or am I just doing it because it's what people do? Do I actually need a new car, or am I just bored with my current one? Is this degree actually going to increase my earning potential, or am I just going because it's expected? These questions lead to completely different life trajectories. I have a friend who started doing this 5 years ago. He was making $70,000 a year, living in an expensive city, had maybe $5,000 in savings at age 30. Nothing remarkable. He didn't change his job. He didn't start a side hustle. He didn't win the lottery. He just started making his financial decisions conscious. Today, he's 35. He has $180,000 in investments. He's on track to retire by 50 if he wants to. And the wildest part, he doesn't feel deprived, He doesn't feel like he's sacrificing. He just feels intentional. Because here's what he figured out. The things he actually consciously wants are way less expensive than all the stuff he was unconsciously buying. Look, I'm going to be real with you. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not a sexy strategy. This is not going to be fun to talk about at parties. But the unsexy truth about building wealth is that it's just math plus psychology plus time. The math is simple. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, let compound interest do its thing. The psychology is the hard part, making your decisions conscious instead of unconscious. And the time, that's the only part you can't control. But the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Because here's what's going to happen if you don't do this. 10 years from now, you're going to be 10 years older with the same amount of money you have right now, wondering where it all went. Or you can start today, you can make your decisions conscious, and 10 years from now, you can be 10 years older and a millionaire, or at least well on your way. The choice is yours. But at least now, it's a conscious one. If this helped you see money differently, smash that subscribe button and hit the like button so more people can see this. Drop a comment and let me know. What's one unconscious spending habit you're going to make conscious starting today? I'll see you in the next one.